What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, for today, we're going to talk about what it really means to be wealthy. And you might be thinking, well, I already know that being rich, having assets, etc., etc., etc. But I'm going to challenge your understanding of wealth and give you a few things to think about. I have some notes here, so I'll walk you through. For all intended purposes of this upload, uh, I'm redefining wealth. Okay, so to be wealthy is something that all of us need to pursue. That's not something up for debate or questioning. Okay, now the common definition is basically having material things that elevate your status, basically things that get you attention and get you preferential treatment. Okay, and that's the more common definition of wealth. My definition of wealth goes like this. First of all, for me to be wealthy, I need to own my time. Okay, and all of my time needs to be free. I don't care how many millions someone makes if they are stuck in front of a computer screen or stuck doing a job. That is not wealth. It's just numbers on a screen in relation to his or her bank account, but this person is not wealthy. They're not wealthy because they don't control their time. They don't dictate what is it that they do with their time, and someone else dictates that for them. Okay? So to be truly wealthy in my eyes, I need full ownership of my time, and that time needs to be free. I dictate what I do with it, not someone else telling me what to do with my time. The next component of me redefining wealth is freedom of movement. Okay? Again, you have the private equity, tech, fintech, finance, banking, investment banking bros making millions, if not hundreds of millions, but they are stuck physically in a shitty office building in front of a computer screen looking at Excel sheets for sometimes 18, if not 20 hours a day. That is not freedom. That is slavery. Okay? That is not wealth. That's poverty. You have no control over your body. You have no control over your movement. You are constrained. You are limited. That is not freedom. Human beings, we are actually nomadic. We are built to move. We're not built to sit down in one spot and be limited in our movement. So true wealth has to include freedom of movement. Okay? And it's not about taking a vacation a quarter or every 6 months or once a year. No. You have to have the freedom to go where you want and be free in terms of controlling your body, its positioning, and where you want to go and be. So that's another thing to consider when it comes to redefining wealth, and that is the freedom of movement. Okay? Next is freedom of association. Okay? How many of you out there, wealthy or not, have to associate with people that you really do not relate to, do not like, nor do you care for, just to generate at a bare minimum income or even to generate and grow your wealth? That is not wealth for me. That is not freedom. That's another form of slavery. You have to subjugate yourself, your will, to associate with someone that you cannot even stomach, someone that you despise, someone, if it wasn't for your job or work or any activity you do to generate quote unquote wealth, you would never ever affiliate with this person or group of people. Yet we tell ourselves that your net worth is your network, and most of your network you don't even like. You're just with them because, hey, they make you money. And the problem with that is, if you're spending your time associating with people that you feel negatively about, that puts you in a state of negativity. You're just constantly in the state of being suppressed, pessimistic, negative, just down overall. How is that wealth? Okay? How is that wealth? If I'm truly wealthy, I want to spend my existence with the people that I'm cool with, that I care for, that I want to be with, not having to spend time with people that, frankly, a lot of the time are just repulsive and disgusting and evil, just so I can have an extra few zeros in my bank account. That comes at a cost, and that is not wealth, okay? In my eyes, that isn't. Having to spend time with people you don't want to be around. That's just another form of poverty. Okay? So far, to be truly wealthy, you have to own your time. Okay? You have to have freedom of movement. Thirdly, we talked about freedom of association. And last but not least is freedom of thought and contemplation. Okay? So first of all, let's talk about freedom of thought. A lot of the time, people, to be able to generate wealth, people will suppress what is it that they truly think or truly believe, so they can keep generating income or increasing their wealth. They basically, quote unquote, play the game, feed into the mainstream narrative or the group of people that influence their ability to generate wealth, feeding into their narrative, which they don't really believe in or support, but hey, they have to play the game to make it in life. And again, if you don't have the freedom of self-expression and the freedom of thought, I don't know, man. Like, it sounds to me like you're poor. You're poor. You're poor in mind. You're poor in the head. You betrayed yourself. And listen, you can try to justify it by saying, hey, I'm going to suck it up for a bit and endure, and then once I make it, I can go ahead and push my own thoughts and agenda and whatever. But here's the problem. This usually will take you years and decades. And here's what we know about people is that you are the result of what you do on a daily basis. So you are your habit. So if your habit is to betray yourself on a daily basis, to suppress yourself, even let's say 10, 15, 20 years down the road when you finally made your money and you're wealthy, okay, quote unquote, that person is not there anymore because you suppressed them and put in new habits in place. Basically, that person's not there. You killed him or her. So if generating your wealth costs you your ability to think freely and self-determine what is it you want to believe in and your thought process, that is not wealth. I'm sorry, but that's a different form of poverty, okay? And it's the worst kind of poverty. It's the one where you betray yourself, okay? And the second part of this was freedom of contemplation. Now, what do I mean by that? When you are obsessing over generating wealth using someone else's rules, or you're working for someone else, basically your brain power, the creative space you need in your head to contemplate is stolen. It's subjugated to someone else's will. So your whole mind is influenced by someone else in the service of their objective. And because of that, you don't have the ability to sit down, reflect on your life, contemplate your goals, the direction you're taking, what's in your best interest. In essence, you have no ability to influence the direction of your thoughts. You have no freedom of self-determination. And as a result, you end up living on this autopilot mode because you've surrendered your faculties to the will and influence of someone else in the service of the goals and objectives of someone else. And that robs you of your ability to slow down, take time off, to think things through. And you might say, well, I have a job, it pays me millions, and I get 2 weeks a year of vacation. I can contemplate in the 2 weeks. No, you can't. It'll take you at least 3/4 of the 2 weeks just to decompress before you actually start having the ability to relax and get in your natural groove and element. So you're still lacking in the ability and freedom to contemplate. And if you don't have that, you're not wealthy, okay? And truly wealthy people have everything I've just mentioned to you yet. Sure, they have the material wealth, and I'm not denying that. Listen, material wealth makes you happy, okay? I have it, makes me happy. And sure, you end up on this hedonic treadmill where you just need more and more and more to feel the same level of happiness just because of the diminishing marginal returns. But it doesn't change the fact that it makes you happy. However, it's a very small portion, okay, of what it really means to be wealthy. And if you have to sacrifice your time, your freedom of movement, your freedom of association, your freedom of thought and contemplation, that this is not true wealth, okay? You're just a slave. You're a slave pretending to be wealthy. I think I'm going to wrap it up here, you guys. As per usual, very much appreciate your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.